Perfecto.
How are you? Hello, everybody. We are here again in the symposium of the IAU, the symposium 367. And all the afternoon we will we receive the information and be the attendees at the special session and invited talks devoted to heritage in astronomy. And I would like to thank the speaker and the chair for this session, Alejandro López and Cesar González, which will conduct this time. And well, the time and the stage are yours.
Thank you,
Okay,
Beatriz.
thank you.
Well, it is my pleasure to introduce Alejandro López, whom I first met in Lithuania in 2007. Wonderful memories. And since then, we have had a very fruitful friendship and collaboration. He has a degree in astronomy and a PhD in anthropology, and he has done research on the generation and transfer of knowledge, particularly astronomical knowledge, among the original populations in Argentina. He is the president of the Inter-American Society of Astronomy and Culture, SIAC, and this society and himself are committed with education and the promotion of cultural astronomy in the region. And I believe I wouldn't exaggerate if I say that he is the leading scholar in cultural astronomy in South America and one of the most prominent researchers in the field worldwide today. So he's with us to give a talk on cultural astronomy, a scientific frame to understand academic astronomy as part of social work. Alejandro, your time.
Thank you very much, Cesar. Thank you. Okay, this talk is about to think about cultural astronomy as a scientific frame to understand academic astronomy as part of the social world. This is the cover of the strategic plan of the AIU 2010-2020. You can see the culture and society part of this wheel, and you can see anthropology, history, and other things like inspiration in this culture and society part of the wheel. And for other side, science in blue and technology in green. You can see a more close caption of this wheel. And you can see here a very old opposition among astronomy and social sciences. You can see in this wheel some assumptions about the nature of astronomy and the nature of social sciences. And if you see these oppositions, this opposition of concepts, you can see the opposition among nature and culture, hard and soft, precise and imprecise, objective and subjective, truth and, I don't know, opinion, pure and impure, maybe, we and they, and future and past. This is a very strong frame of oppositions, and this is linked to the politics of knowledge, the politics of the academic knowledge. You can see also in the new strategic plan that the wheel is in general of the same shape. You can see anthropology along with philosophy, education, and inspiration in one side, and science in another. It's actually in English, this use of science as nature sciences is very common, but I think reflects a more deep idea of social sciences as non-science or no real sciences. We talk in these strategic plans about astronomy for development. And we need to ask development of what? And the plans talk about education, heritage, economy, for example. In the case of education, the question or the issue is that we need a real dialogue with other astronomic traditions to have a real academic astronomy education. In the issue of heritage, in that times, heritage is a new language for conflicts as ecology, for example. In the case of economy, we have very great problems among great astronomical facilities and local populations linked with economic development. And another question about development is development for who? We think for local people. Okay, all these issues are a matter of social sciences. We need the method and concept of social sciences to understand these issues and to try to make a contribution from astronomy, from academic astronomy to these problems. But also to make a real dialogue with local communities, especially indigenous people, but not only indigenous people. And we need to talk about their needs. We need to talk with them about their needs and their ideas about development. And we have the solution because we have a interdisciplinary area that combines astronomy and social sciences, and this is cultural astronomy. And you know, the IAU have a commission about, that includes cultural astronomy. What is this cultural astronomy? Cultural astronomy are concerned with the studies about the ways in which different past and present cultures and societies perceive the sky, the questions that are asked about the sky, the meaning they give it, the practices they develop with respect to the sky, the relationships that they build with that environment and the phenomena that happens there. All of this as an integral part of social processes of production, reproduction, and transformation of societies and cultures. This is a broad definition of cultural astronomy. This is an interdiscipline, but their object of study are social facts, include different areas like ethnoastronomy, archaeoastronomy, history of astronomy, of some kind of history of astronomy, a social concerned history of astronomy, astronomical education, but some kind of astronomical education concerned with these social implications of knowledge. Also cultural astronomy's perspective, that is not only searching for fragments of our astronomy in distant culture, not only thinking about the cultural context of astronomy, but also thinking about astronomies as social cultural products. We have different approaches to this cultural astronomy. Green, ethnoastronomy, blue, astronomy, cultural astronomy, brown, cultural astronomy, with different techniques, methods, and theoretical approaches. But the key issue is that knowledge is a social construction. We live in a socio-cultural environmental reality. Our knowledge is a social cultural product, including also astronomy. Our world is a universe full of meanings, and we use schemes of perception and metaphors, and these are organized in cosmovisions and cosmologies. And we learn about these cosmovisions and cosmologies first in our families and then in educational institutions. And we learn a lot of this, but primary socialization, imitation, and day-to-day experience. And this includes also our ideas about the sky. An important thing is that the social construction of knowledge does not mean neither a simple collective work, is not arbitrariness, is the idea that we live in this social environment and our ideas about the world are socially modeled. We are for these reasons, interested in social significant knowledge. And cosmovision and cosmologies are like the poles of a continuum, one more explicit and one more implicit. And they have some general features. For example, the limitations of our senses that have some kind of frame of possibilities to any human cosmovision that is linked with the limits of our senses. But this not implies one single option. We have many options with these same senses limits. Also, the social character of knowledge is linked to the need of legitimized knowledge and to take into account the accepted truth regimes that impose limits to the possible cosmovisions in a given society at a given time. But they are not absolute limits. Also, a cosmovision not only implies a specific set of answers to the questions about the world, but also a set of questions about the world, guiding objectives, truth criteria, etc. And these cosmovisions are socially and historically constructed. Okay, they tend to be naturalized, like the water for a fish, and we can see this cultural constructed character of cosmovisions and are linked to social structures linked to power. And this implied that they not have the same level of legitimacy in any world order, for example, the contemporary world order. All these systems change with time, are not complete, are all of this system in development all the time. And the power, it's very involved in these knowledge systems. And if the sky is important for a society, the power is very involved to the constructions of ideas about the sky. For this reason, the knowledge about everything, but especially about the sky, is traversed by power relations. And we need to take this into account, for example, in education. Also, Western academic astronomy have certain cosmovision and certain metaphors that are the basis of our thinking, and propose a repertoire of emotions and attitudes toward the skies. And for us, these ideas are obvious, but for other human groups and other cultures, these ideas are very strange and not obvious at all. We need to take this into account in education, for example. For this reason, intercultural dialogue implies a true reflexivity for part of the teacher that needs to think about their own assumptions about the sky. Denaturalizing some of the Western sky assumptions, we have this idea of the search for regularity and order, and the idea of the nature-culture division that are very important for us, but is not an universal idea in all the cultures. We tell different histories about the past of our sciences, one more simple, one's more complicated, and this is very important to understand science in our point of view. This is a very crazy animation that has their own lives, but the idea is like the process of autonomization of the scientific field in Western civilization is linked to an imaginary of political and cultural autonomy. And for example, we forget the relation with entertainment and with society, as for example, in the 18th century develops and 17th century developments of scientific experiments in parties in the houses of rich families, and also the role of the the differences of gender in the construction of the tales about the history of science, for example, the origin of chemistry and the very important participation of Marie-Anne Pierret, that it's married with Lavoisier, the founder of the chemistry. Okay, this gives us a new look to the heritage question. Heritage have strong links with specific juridical languages and specific property conceptions. In heritage, we have a lot of things that are connected with social sciences. For example, the idea of culture as a value to protect, the idea of authenticity, the definition of the heritage, the idea of conservation, the hierarchization of different kind of heritage. All of this is not politically neutral. And also the claims about heritage are in many cases claims about many things, a kind of new language for conflicts. And the definition of things, the definition of person and humankind, the conception of territory, the conceptions of ownership, the ideas of history change and identity, all of these concepts are in the question of heritage are present there, and we need to take into account these problems. Also the problem of essentialization and folklorization of other cultural astronomical practices, for example, in the case of astronomical heritage. We need to take into account this idea of traditional, authentic and not changing traditions that we, in many cases, take into account in the case of heritage. And also, in many cases, the idea of heritage have the problem of folklorization and bureaucratization of this heritage. And these processes usually have some keys. For example, the assimilation of astronomical festivities of different cultures to religious minorities, and the imposition of a Western calendar structure to the aboriginal festivities of astronomical significance, etc. We have some examples of, for example, the Chaco region in Argentina. In this case, a very complex festivity links to astronomical, climate, weather, biological things. It's reduced to a single date in the Gregorian calendar for bureaucratical issues, and this is a very problematic question. And
5 minutes, Alex.
Perfect. And this implies the creation of domesticated versions of the real, in this case, Mocoit calendar. Also, it's the problem of the right to free, prior, and informed consent, that it's not a gift, it's a right, and it's an obligation for all the institutions that works in heritage matters. Also, education. Cultural astronomy has an enormous potential to collaborate in the improvement of astronomical education. We need to understand deeper the idea of astronomies and other cultures to make a better academic astronomical education. But we need to solve a few problems. For example, the amount of material about astronomy of different cultures in many cases is not of very good quality. And also the astronomy of other cultures are used in general in an anecdotal manner and not with their own logic. But we have potentials because we have professionals in cultural astronomy and professional associations. And also we need a more anthropological view of the history of Western academic astronomy to make improve these educational ideas. We need to understand better the metaphors and logics of our astronomy to design good strategies to teach astronomy in a diverse cultural context. And also we need to face the conflicts amongst academic astronomy and coloniality. We have a lot of conflicts among great astronomical facilities and local populations, and we need to understand the political and cultural context of these conflicts. To conclude, Western academic astronomy is not a transcultural meta system of knowledge about the sky. It's one very successful system in a very specific historical context. We can contribute to world development, yes, but the world can contribute also to the academic astronomy development. We need the reflexivity to think about our own knowledge production, to understand our knowledge as in all their complexity, their variation, and their historical and contingent character. Also, as scientists, we need a scientific approach to the academic astronomy and their relation with the world, and we need social sciences for that. Cultural astronomy is an interdisciplinary effort in this direction. We need to use the cultural astronomy ideas. They need to have a key role in heritage initiatives, in education initiatives, and in the resolution of conflicts among academic astronomy and local populations. And we need to take into account the importance of coloniality in this context. If we want to have a more active role in the world and contribute to the world, we cannot maintain a naive and uncritical attitude about the world's problems and our position in the world as scientists. And we need to take into account that the colonial logics are inscribed in our bodies and practices, and we need to have a very strong vigilance to avoid the risk of reproducing colonial plunders. This is the links of the Sociedad Interamericana of Astronomía en la Cultura. You can contact with us, and you need to take into account that in 2021 we have the reprogram edition of the Oxford 12 Conference in Cultural Astronomy. Thank you very much.
Very good, thank you. Thank you, Ale. And well, it's now time for questions. We have several questions in the chat. For instance, there is one from Kala Perkins who asks, do you have ideas and thoughts? Do you have your ideas and thoughts here published already in papers that we might read and reference?
Yeah,
I believe the things that you have just presented.
Yes, we have some papers about it, and we expect to have more in the next future. But yes, you can write to me, to my email. I can put this in the chat, and I can give to you the references. Okay.
Beatriz asks if we can think on a long-term citizen science project on cultural astronomy.
Okay. It's a complex matter because you need some training in some very important social science tools to make cultural astronomy. For this reason, it is possible, but we need a lot of effort to make this kind of public science collaboration. I think some people, for example, Mr. Camino here in Argentina, he worked with local population about memories, family memories about, for example, eclipses and other astronomical phenomena. I think this is a very interesting way. We need to take this kind of initiatives, for example, in schools. When we talk about different celestial phenomena, we can talk about familiar memories and local cultural ideas about this phenomena.
Okay. Walter Guevara asked, as an intellectual aspect and tool for the analysis of teaching of the knowledge of reality, it is excellent. But we must be careful that when we try to understand reality and create divisions and define structures for its study, we run the risk that in the end we do not achieve or reach the initial objective, and we want reality to be divided and structured in this way, and many times we begin to believe that reality should accommodate our structured models and deduced laws. I believe this is a general comment, somehow in relation to what you just presented.
Okay, I think the important issue is we don't have a special access to the metaphysical reality because we are in the world and we try to understand the world from the world. For this reason, we have only our social approaches to the world. Maybe we can think our own approach is the better. Okay, you can think this, but it's our opinion. And this opinion is linked with the question that we are making to the cosmos. And other societies have another questions. This not imply that we can't have the idea of give academic astronomy to other people. It's okay, but we need to take into account that other people have other ideas about the cosmos, and they have the right to have these other ideas.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and there are a couple of questions here. Do the MOOC also include a component for the public outreach? I don't fully
No, this is
understand
an
this.
old, no, this is an old question.
Okay. Sorry. How do you recommend to approach the social scientists to help astronomers?
Okay, first, we have a long work now in these matters in the field of cultural astronomy. We don't need to start from the beginning because we have a lot of teams that combine astronomers and social scientists. But the problem is astronomers from other parts of the astronomical world don't have idea of this work. And the first step is you need to make contact with cultural astronomers and to talk with them about the complexities of this interdisciplinary dialogue. It's not easy, but the key, I think, is if you try to talk with, for example, an anthropologist or an historian, you need to learn about anthropology and history.
I guess if I may, you need to speak their language.
Yes,
somehow.
They also need to speak the language of astronomy, but
True.
We need to make the effort to understand that social science are science and have their methods and their concepts, and don't be so proud of our astronomical knowledge as a kind of superior knowledge, and we know everything because we are astronomers.
Okay, there are a lot of new questions, but I think we are running out of time. I believe we have time for maybe one or two questions, and one is from Anaï Kaldu, who asks, how do you draw a line with colonialism? Could you bring astronomy to communities to be understood as a colonialist attitude?
I think the first step to avoid colonial attitude in the astronomical education with, for example, Aboriginal communities is first to listen to the needs of the people and to talk with the people, not in the position of I have the truth and I come here to give to you the light of knowledge. You need to sit with the people, listen the needs of the people, and put your knowledge in the table and take also their knowledge that they put in the table. I think this is the first step. Some people, I think, ask about submissions for Oxford 12. In the next future, we reopen the time for submission, for new submissions, because this reprogrammation of the Oxford, you need to be attended to the media and our Facebook and website to take this news.
And I think we have time for one last, which could be, can you comment about your own approach to the people who conserve the oral traditions?
Again, please.
Can you comment on about your own approach to the people
Okay.
who conserve the oral traditions?
I worked from 1998 with Aboriginal people in the Chaco region in Argentina. And the first I need to do is to study anthropology and to study ethnographical methods. And one of them is be there and listen to people and learn the astronomical tradition of the people that I work to. And in this context, to understand the deep logics of their own idea about the sky. And the people, if you have this attitude, the people ask you about your ideas about the cosmos and their academic astronomical tradition, because they are interested in the exchange of ideas about the sky. And in many situations, they think that our ideas are good ideas and they can use it, but not all the time. And they need to have the conviction that we respect their right to have their own ideas.
Okay. Okay, I think we can leave it
Yes.
like this. Thank you very much, Ale.
Thank you.